From the barbecue capital of the world, the Davidson County Network presents Chats with Newell, featuring Lexington, North Carolina Mayor Newell Clark.
As folks can see when they arrive in Uptown Lexington, we continue to develop what we call our depot district, which is right off of our main street. It's a couple blocks down where the old Dixie plant used to be. And the newest update on that is you can obviously see that development has happened. It continues to happen with the amphitheater, with Bull City Cider Works down there. We have the Goose and Monkey Brew House, which is another brewery that's coming forward. It's a beer brewery that'll be opening up fairly soon. They are in full mode of construction right now. It's exciting to see that happen. We had two other parcels of land that the city has recently sold, and one of those are the buildings that are beside the amphitheater right there at 3rd Avenue. And the area there, a local developer has purchased that, and he's looking at creating what he's calling like a 3rd Street market. So there'll be a lot of different activity inside of those buildings. In terms of restaurants, in terms of entertainment, we're excited about the growth of that. And then just up on the hill on 4th Avenue, it's the old Dixie headquarters. It's a 2-story building. It's kind of a glass front building. Some of the glass has been knocked out. That building has been sold. And William Fusselbaum is a gentleman who's purchased that, and his company is called Greenworks. And they are going to transition that building into an agricultural research center, looking at partnering with a higher ed institution such as NC State or North Carolina A&T. There'll also be some partnerships with local farmers, be some partnerships with the community college and Valley Academy that exists here in Davidson County. So really excited about the build out there. In part of our contract with Greenworks, they have 6 months to present us the plans of the build out. And then 12 months, they have to start the construction part of that. So we're really aggressive on trying to get them to move forward, and a lot of progress is already happening behind the scenes for that development. But all the land that the city purchased and buildings that the city purchased back in 2007, that has all been either leased and or sold. And that's very positive because it was in the public's hands. Now it's getting back into private hands, which puts it back onto the tax books. I'm also excited to share with the citizens that when the city bought that back in 2007, that was a previous mayor and administration before me. They spent $1 million on buying that space. It was 1 million square feet of space, so basically $1 a square foot is what they purchased with that. Well, immediately they turned around and started leasing 100,000 of that square footage back to Lexington Home Brands, and they still operate a distribution center out of that 100,000 square feet. We leased it to them for about $98,000 a year. So you can do the math fairly quickly and see from 2007 to now, we're now at a positive cash flow with that. That debt has been paid back through their lease, has been paid back to the citizens, and now it's positive money that goes back into the city budget as we continue to grow out and develop that area. And I think a lot of people, I hear folks say, oh, you're spending all this money down there. But again, they'll say that without actually knowing what we're doing and how we're doing it. So through the lease of some of this property, we're able to put the money back into the development of that area that we've seen. We've been able to garner some grants that have also helped us with master planning of that area. So that hasn't been a burden to the taxpayers at all. That's come from grant funding. And it's been exciting for some of the public-private partnerships with the Breeden family for Breeden Insurance Amphitheater that is down there. They paid for half of that development, and then the city paid for the other half. So we're very excited about that development that happened there and continues to be. Have a lot of exciting events that are there. We, of course, had the fire that took place. That has now been cleared, and that is a green space. All of that work and demolition work, insurance paid for that. Again, not much of a burden to the taxpayers at all. So we were able to clear that space for new development. So very excited about that. And probably the other biggest update I can give you on that is we just got back from D.C. We visited with some of our congressional leadership that's up there. Congressman Budd was very gracious in meeting with us. Senator Burr also gave us a tremendous amount of time for us to brief them on where we are, because we're about to apply for a new federal grant to help with some of the rail improvements that need to take place before we can actually put a depot there. Part of the track needs to be straightened out. There is a grade crossing at 7th Avenue that has to be worked out for safety reasons, and they're looking at putting a new crossing at 5th Avenue. So that's one of our arteries coming into the city. The idea would be you would drive on in as if you're going to Bull City, and there will be a tunnel that would go under the track. Again, a safety place to cross. So there's some public safety issues that we've got to work out. We're working with state DOT and US DOT to help fund those projects so that we can get all of those grade crossings safer. We can make it easier to get around in that area in terms of tunneling under, and then also straightening out the tracks for, again, safety for passenger and freight as well. So all of those, it takes time. The projects don't happen overnight. There's a lot of moving parts. There's Norfolk Southern, which uses the freight line. Of course, there's Amtrak. There's the North Carolina rail as well, which is Carolane and the Piedmont, or the two lines that go through there. But I think it's important when citizens a lot of times will tell me, well, I don't use the train, or I wouldn't use the train. Well, that's assuming that you're always going to be able to drive. But I think it's very important that we invest and that we connect in that connectivity to other communities. And the best way I can describe it to you is we have to realize that we have a major interstate running through our county and running through our city, and we have no way to get on it and no way to get off it. If you could imagine I-85 coming through Lexington and Davidson County as it does, and there were no exits, we would be up in arms, and we would be at the governor's office every day screaming and yelling, wanting to know, why can't we get on 85? Well, we have a train track that runs right through our town, right through our county, and there's an Amtrak that goes through here 8 times a day, and we have no way to get on and no way to get off. So that's one of the reasons that we're pushing for this, because it's a major piece of connectivity for us as a community to connect to larger municipalities, connect to job centers. Imagine if you were able to live here in Lexington and commute to a job in Charlotte, commute to a job in Raleigh. There are citizens that do that now in their cars. But if you could sit on a train, do some work, relax, it's a whole different world. They've been doing it in New York forever. Long Island to Manhattan, that's the trip. Lexington to Charlotte, it's that short. But it's something we know for the future growth of this region. It's a piece of that infrastructure that we need to continue to push, work together, partner with, collaborate, and create that connectivity for our citizens.